This is U.S. case stories. On this channel, we present real, documented crime cases from across the United States. Each story is carefully researched and based only on publicly available information. These sources include police statements, court documents, and verified news reporting. We do not include graphic descriptions. We do not speculate about motives or intent, and we do not present allegations as proven facts. All individuals mentioned are described strictly according to public records and reporting available at the time of production. Our goal is to explain real cases clearly, responsibly, and respectfully for educational and informational purposes only. Today's case is one that has drawn significant attention in the United States. It involves a prominent American family, a serious criminal investigation, and a legal process that remains ongoing. This episode examines the deaths of Reiner and Michele Reiner and the criminal charges filed in connection with their case. Reiner was a widely recognized figure in American film and television. Over several decades, he worked as an actor, director, and producer. His career placed him in the public eye for much of his adult life. Michele Reiner was an author and photographer. She was known for her creative work and her involvement in artistic and charitable projects. Together, the couple lived in Brentwood, a residential neighborhood in Los Angeles, California. Brentwood is known for its quiet streets, private homes, and high-profile residents. It is an area where privacy is highly valued and serious crime is relatively uncommon. According to public reporting, the Reiners had lived in the area for many years. There were no widely reported criminal incidents connected to the household prior to this case. For neighbors and community members, the events that unfolded in December of 2025 came as a shock. On December 14, 2025, Los Angeles police officers were dispatched to the Reiner residence. The request was for a welfare check. A welfare check is typically conducted when someone has reason to believe that individuals inside a home may be in danger or unresponsive. According to police statements, officers arrived at the residence and made entry. Inside the home, they discovered two deceased individuals. Those individuals were later confirmed to be Reiner and Michele Reiner. Law enforcement officials stated that both deaths were being investigated as homicides. At the time of the initial announcement, authorities did not release specific details about how the deaths occurred. Police explained that the investigation was in its early stages and that preserving evidence was a priority. The area around the residence was secured. Detectives and forensic teams began documenting the scene. Standard procedures were followed. This included photographing the location, collecting physical evidence, and identifying potential digital records for review. Law enforcement also began establishing a timeline. This timeline would focus on recent movements, communications, and interactions involving the victims. Police officials emphasized that there was no immediate threat to the public. They also urged members of the public and the media to avoid speculation while the investigation was ongoing. In the days following the discovery, investigators worked to piece together what had occurred. According to public reporting, detectives reviewed security footage from the surrounding area. They examined phone records, electronic communications, and financial activity. Investigators also interviewed individuals who had recent contact with the Reiners. These interviews are a standard part of homicide investigations and are used to establish context and verify timelines. During this early phase, law enforcement did not publicly identify any suspects. Officials stated that all possibilities were being considered and that evidence would guide the investigation. As the case developed, public interest increased. Media outlets across the United States began reporting on the investigation. Coverage focused on the confirmed facts released by law enforcement. Authorities continued to caution against rumors and unverified claims. Several days later, investigators announced a major development. Los Angeles law enforcement confirmed that an arrest had been made in connection with the case. Police stated that the Reiners' adult son had been taken into custody. According to officials, the arrest was carried out without incident. Prosecutors later announced that he had been formally charged with 2 counts of homicide. It is critical to state clearly that these charges represent allegations. Under the United States legal system, Every defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The accused appeared before a judge for arraignment. During arraignment, the charges were formally read in court. The defendant entered a plea of not guilty. Defense attorneys declined to provide detailed public comments, citing the ongoing legal process. Prosecutors stated that evidence gathered during the investigation would be presented during court proceedings. They also noted that not all details could be released publicly at that time. This is common in active criminal cases, particularly those that may proceed to trial. The judge reviewed the charges and scheduled additional hearings. Bail conditions were considered in accordance with California law. Court records indicate that the defendant was held pending further proceedings. At this stage, the case moved fully into the legal process. Following the arrest announcement, public attention turned toward how investigators reached their conclusions. Law enforcement emphasized that the arrest was the result of evidence collected over several days, not a rushed decision. According to public statements, investigators followed standard homicide investigation procedures throughout the process. This included a careful review of physical evidence, digital records, and witness accounts. Detectives worked to establish a detailed timeline. A timeline helps investigators understand where individuals were, who they interacted with, and what actions occurred before and after a crime. To build this timeline, investigators reviewed phone records and electronic communications. They also examined security camera footage from the residence and nearby locations. In addition, financial activity was reviewed. Financial records can help investigators identify unusual behavior or confirm movements and interactions. Law enforcement officials did not publicly disclose the full scope of evidence. They explained that releasing detailed information prematurely could affect the integrity of the legal process. This approach is common in serious criminal cases. Investigators also conducted interviews. These interviews included neighbors, acquaintances, and individuals who had recent contact with the victims. Interviewing multiple sources allows investigators to compare accounts and verify details. In cases involving family members, investigators often take additional care to document communications and interactions. This helps ensure that conclusions are supported by evidence rather than assumptions. Throughout this stage, law enforcement repeatedly asked the public to rely only on verified information. They warned that speculation could cause harm and spread misinformation. As the investigation continued, prosecutors reviewed the evidence collected by detectives. Prosecutors play a key role in determining whether charges can be supported in court. They must assess whether the evidence meets the legal standard required to file criminal charges. In this case, prosecutors determined that there was sufficient evidence to proceed. They formally charged the Reiners' adult son with 2 counts of homicide. It is important to repeat that charges are not convictions. In the American legal system, the burden of proof rests with the prosecution. The defendant is not required to prove innocence. Instead, prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. After charges were filed, the defendant appeared in court for arraignment. Arraignment is a procedural hearing where charges are formally presented. At this hearing, the defendant is informed of their legal rights. The defendant entered a plea of not guilty. This plea indicates that the defendant contests the charges and intends to challenge the prosecution's case. Following arraignment, the court addressed custody status. Judges consider several factors when deciding whether a defendant will be released or held. These factors may include the seriousness of the charges, potential flight risk, and public safety considerations. Court records indicate that the defendant was held pending further proceedings. The case then moved into the pretrial phase. The pretrial phase is one of the most important parts of the criminal justice process. During this phase, both sides prepare their cases. Prosecutors organize evidence and identify witnesses. Defense attorneys review evidence and may file motions challenging its admissibility. Motions are formal requests asking the court to make specific legal rulings. For example, defense attorneys may argue that certain evidence was obtained improperly. Judges review these motions and issue rulings based on the law. Some evidence may be allowed. Other evidence may be excluded. This process helps ensure that trials are conducted fairly. During pretrial proceedings, some court records may be sealed. Sealed records are not publicly accessible. This is often done to protect sensitive information or prevent prejudice. Sealing records does not imply wrongdoing. It is a standard legal practice. As the case progressed, media coverage continued. Most major outlets reported on developments using careful language. They emphasized that the case was ongoing. They also reminded audiences that allegations are not proof of guilt. Legal analysts interviewed by the media discussed general legal procedures. They explained how homicide cases typically move through the court system. These explanations focused on process rather than conclusions. Public interest remained high. However, law enforcement officials again cautioned against speculation. They stressed that only information presented in court should be treated as factual. Online discussions sometimes included rumors or unverified claims. Authorities warned that such information could be misleading. They encouraged the public to wait for court proceedings to unfold. Throughout the investigation and pretrial phase, one principle remained central: due process. Due process is a fundamental part of the American justice system. It ensures that individuals are treated fairly and that legal procedures are followed. Even in emotionally charged cases, due process protects the rights of all parties involved. This includes victims, defendants, and the broader public. As of the time of this recording, the case has not reached trial. No verdict has been issued. The legal process continues according to established procedures. Future hearings will determine how the case proceeds. Evidence will be examined in court. Arguments will be presented by both sides. A judge or jury will ultimately be responsible for determining the outcome. Until that time, all allegations remain allegations. And all individuals are entitled to the presumption of innocence under the law. At this stage, it is important to step back and examine how cases like this move through the American legal system. High-profile homicide investigations follow the same legal framework as any other criminal case. Public attention does not change the rules of evidence or the rights of the accused. Once charges are filed, a case enters the formal judicial process. This process is designed to balance accountability with fairness. One of the first principles involved is due process. Due process ensures that every defendant receives a fair legal proceeding. This includes the right to legal representation, the right to review evidence, and the right to challenge the prosecution's case. In serious criminal cases, pretrial proceedings can take months or longer. This time is used to review evidence, file motions, and prepare arguments. During this phase, prosecutors and defense attorneys operate under strict legal rules. They cannot introduce evidence freely. Evidence must meet legal standards for relevance and admissibility. Judges play a central role in overseeing this process. They rule on motions, manage hearings, and ensure courtroom procedures are followed. Some hearings are open to the public. Others may be closed or partially sealed. This is not unusual. Sealed proceedings are often used to protect sensitive information or prevent jury prejudice. Media coverage during this period can be extensive. However, responsible reporting focuses on verified facts. Reputable outlets avoid presenting speculation as truth. They use language such as "according to court filings" or "prosecutors allege." This distinction matters. In the United States, allegations are not evidence. And evidence is not proof until it is evaluated in court. Public misunderstanding often arises when legal terminology is misused. For example, an arrest does not equal guilt. Charges do not equal conviction. And silence from defense attorneys does not imply wrongdoing. These distinctions are essential to understanding how justice works. Media outlets often consult legal analysts to explain these principles. Legal analysts typically speak in general terms. They avoid commenting on guilt or innocence. Their role is to explain process, not outcomes. Another important concept is the burden of proof. In criminal cases, the burden of proof rests entirely with the prosecution. This burden is high. Prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. This standard exists to prevent wrongful convictions. It reflects the principle that it is better to acquit than to convict without certainty. Defense attorneys are not required to prove innocence. Their role is to challenge the prosecution's case. They may question evidence, witness credibility, or investigative methods. Jurors, if a case goes to trial, are instructed to consider only the evidence presented in court. They are told to disregard media coverage and outside commentary. This is why courts are cautious about public statements during active cases. Statements made outside the courtroom can influence public perception. They can also affect jury selection. For this reason, prosecutors and defense attorneys often limit what they say publicly. Law enforcement agencies also adjust their communications once charges are filed. Early in investigations, police may release limited information. Once a case enters court, communication becomes more restrained. This protects the integrity of the judicial process. Public reaction to high-profile cases can vary widely. Some people form opinions quickly. Others reserve judgment until legal proceedings conclude. Social media has amplified this dynamic. Information spreads rapidly, but accuracy can suffer. Responsible true crime storytelling must account for this reality. It must emphasize facts, context, and legal standards. It must also avoid sensational language. Sensationalism can distort understanding. It can reduce complex legal issues to emotional reactions. That approach may attract attention, but it undermines credibility. Educational storytelling takes a different approach. It explains what is known. It acknowledges what is unknown. And it respects the legal process. This is especially important in cases involving real people. Victims deserve dignity. Defendants deserve fair treatment. And the public deserves accurate information. Cases like this also raise broader questions. How do investigations balance transparency with fairness? How does media coverage influence public perception? And how does the justice system manage cases under intense scrutiny? These questions do not have simple answers. But understanding the process helps provide clarity. As legal proceedings continue, updates come through court filings and hearings. Each step builds toward resolution. Whether that resolution comes through trial, plea agreement, or dismissal depends on evidence and legal arguments. Until then, the presumption of innocence remains. This is not a technicality. It is a foundational principle of American law. As this case continues through the legal system, it serves as a reminder of why careful and responsible reporting matters. True crime stories are not just narratives. They involve real people, real families, and real consequences. When cases are still unfolding, facts must be separated clearly from allegations. The American justice system is designed to handle this complexity. Investigations gather evidence. Courts evaluate that evidence. And outcomes are determined through established legal procedures. Public attention does not change these principles. High-profile cases often receive intense media coverage. However, responsible reporting focuses on verified information and legal context. It avoids speculation. It avoids sensationalism. And it avoids presenting assumptions as facts. Understanding this process helps viewers make sense of complex cases without misinformation. It also reinforces the importance of due process. Due process protects everyone involved. It protects victims by ensuring investigations are thorough and lawful. It protects defendants by ensuring fairness and presumption of innocence. And it protects the public by maintaining trust in the justice system. This is why patience is essential in ongoing cases. Legal outcomes take time. Evidence must be reviewed carefully. Arguments must be examined in court. And decisions must be based on law, not emotion. At U.S. Case Stories, our focus is on clarity and responsibility. We present cases using publicly available records and verified reporting. We do not add speculation. We do not dramatize events. And we do not glorify criminal behavior. Our goal is to help viewers understand how real cases unfold within the legal system. This approach allows audiences to stay informed while respecting the individuals involved. It also supports a healthier conversation around true crime, one that values accuracy over attention and education over sensationalism. If you are interested in more documented American crime cases explained in this way, Additional material is available. A collection of responsibly researched U.S. case summaries is available in book form. Each case in the book is presented with the same standards used on this channel. Verified sources, clear legal framing, non-graphic narration, and educational context. The link to the book is available in the description. For viewers who want deeper understanding without exaggeration, it provides a structured and reliable resource. Thank you for spending time with U.S. case stories. If you value factual, respectful, and carefully researched true crime content, consider subscribing. New case explanations are added regularly. As always, remember that real justice happens in courtrooms, not comment sections. And understanding the process matters.